Treaty of Versailles, 1919 to 1920, was supposed to be the treaty that decided the terms of the war to end all wars. Guess what? Welcome to FreeTeacher. The main questions that you'll face on the Treaty of Versailles are basically, what are the terms of the Treaty of Versailles? Why couldn't the big three get what they wanted? What effect did the treaty have on Germany? And was it fair? The big three, Britain, France and the United States, were represented by three different leaders. You had Lloyd George, ladies and gentlemen. You had Clemenceau, the Tiger. Clemenceau, ladies and gentlemen, Clemenceau. And you also had Woodrow Wilson, the angel politician, who only wanted peace for everybody. First of all, Lloyd George. He was conflicted. The mood at home was one of anger, and hang the Kaiser was the mood of the British people. So Lloyd George had to balance the need to be seen to punish Germany, I guess, and the reality that Britain needed a stronger Germany in Europe as a trading partner and didn't want France to be the dominant power in Europe. Clemenceau, as we call him, simply echoed the mood of the French people. He wanted to punish Germany as harshly as possible and to make sure that Germany was never, ever a threat to France again. Woodrow Wilson of the American team, yes, he wanted peace, yes, he was idealistic, but he also came with an anti-empire, thus anti-British agenda, which was reflected in his 14 points. Yes, it was all about freedom of the high seas. Yes, it was about self-determination. But no, it wasn't self-determination for people that didn't suit the United States. And freedom of the high seas was going to loosen Britain's grip on world trade and empire. So it wasn't the idealistic crusade that we're always told it was. Of course, it had elements of idealism. But that was balanced off with Woodrow Wilson's obvious need to serve his own country's needs. So, Lloyd George, be seen to punish, but leave a stronger Germany. So, Lloyd George, punish, yes, but don't destroy Germany. France, leave Germany as weak and destroyed as possible and extract maximum reparations. Woodrow Wilson, try to create a balance between all of the European powers and look after America's interests. Everyone was interested in reparations, though. The problem with this compromise situation was what you ended up with was a treaty that was harsh, that punished Germany, that left them crippled and angry, caused many problems, but didn't destroy them. So it left them wanting revenge. In the end, nobody really got what they wanted from the Treaty of Versailles, from the settlements that made up the Versailles settlement. It was a mishmash. Left nobody satisfied and left a dangerously angry, resentful and bitter Germany. We can ask ourselves, was it fair? Probably not, but treaties against defeated countries aren't normally fair. The Germans, on the one hand, had a right to feel aggrieved. They'd been punished by the victors, and most of all, they'd been made to accept war guilt clause 231. This was humiliating. This put the blame squarely at their door, which was not accurate, and so made it their responsibility to pay the crippling, damaging amount of reparations, which was gonna really stop them from having the recovery that they needed. Was it harsh? Yes, it was harsh. It was harsh on the Germans, but they'd done exactly the same to the Russians in the Treaty of Brest, Litovsk in 1917, so they can't really complain. Plus, it reflected the mood of the people at the time. Yeah. Koi, do you think that the Treaty of Versailles was harsh?
Yes.
That's the view from Cambodia. Thank you very much. Quite literally catch me here hanging in the sky as I contemplate what exactly were the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, this harsh compromise that pleased no one and angered Germany so much. And planted the seeds of World War II. Let's check out the terms before I fall. So, territorial losses. Let's have a look at the map post-Versailles settlement. Let's have a look here. You'll notice here German losses. You'll see that Germany has lost the Rhineland, which was very important for security and industry. It lost control of the Rhineland. This was demilitarized. It lost. Examples of territory lost are the Saar Basin, Alsace and Lorraine, which were returned to France, Malmedy, which went to Belgium, and parts of the very proud military heart of Germany, the state of Prussia. This was lost, as well as the commercially important port of Danzig, Gdansk, which became a free city. The Polish got their corridor to the sea, and self-determination was not applied, say, to the Germans of the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia. What you ended up with was territories lost, which humiliated Germany, and they would want them back. Also, the Germans claimed that they had their most productive territory taken away when they needed that as an income to pay off their reparations. The Germans, who were a proud military nation, had their armed forces slashed, cut. Their armed forces were basically taken down to a level that was not sufficient to defend their borders. It left them feeling humiliated, weak and vulnerable. Figures, 100,000 soldiers maximum in their army, no conscription. Warships, 36 warships in total. Of those, 6 were battleships. No submarines and no air force. This was a real sticking point for a proud military nation whose Prussian ancestry was renowned.
Reparations. Germany had to pay $6.6 billion in reparations. Because, according to Article 231, they were guilty of starting the war. That really upset the Germans and really gave Hitler some ammunition that he could use to get elected in the future.
For effects of the Treaty of Versailles, of course, there are the physical and military and economic effects of completely crippling Germany. These are very important. Then, of course, there's the anger and the shame. The short-term consequences which come to a head with the crises of 1923. Non-payment, invasion of the Ruhr, passive resistance, hyperinflation leading to the Munich Putsch. And then there's the long-term discrediting of the Weimar Republic, short-term and long-term discrediting of the Weimar Republic, which would never recover. Even through the golden 20s, the shame of agreeing to the Treaty of Versailles, the armistice, the diktat, the dictated peace, the idea of being November criminal, this never really left the Weimar government. And it was something that it would have to live with in the long term. When the Depression hit, it was another financial crisis that the people associated with democracy. And of course, the Treaty of Versailles gave Hitler a platform from which to operate. He could manipulate the anger and resentment, and all he had to really do, there were other factors of course, but promising to overturn the Treaty of Versailles gave Hitler instant popularity. Okay, you join me here outside the Palace of Versailles with Dara.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so Dara, was your aim to make Germany suffer, punish them as much as possible and to leave them weak?
Yes.
Of course, yes. He's very quiet, but he's French. Did you reduce their armed forces to 100,000 men?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Dara, do you think this left them humiliated and feeling vulnerable?
Yes.
Yes. And perhaps, do you think there's going to be a price to pay in the future for this as Germany aims to recover its lost pride?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We. You join me here at the Palace of Versailles with a French Khmer who should know better. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Look, number 2 of 25-point plan manifesto. That's pretty high up there on his importance levels. Point number 2 of a 25-point manifesto, and point number 1 is about living in a greater Germany, which would involve the overthrowing of the territorial parts of the Treaty of Versailles. Anyway,
To conclude, the Treaty of Versailles. Why didn't the leaders get everything that they wanted? Because they had conflicting aims. You can go back and have a look at what those aims were. Was it fair at the time? No, not really. Yes, depending on how you looked at it, it was harsh, but it could be justified because everyone was angry. Let's be honest, this was the end of World War I. There wasn't a fight in the playground, they'd been killing each other with gas. What did you want? Fair. What were the effects on Germany and the wider world? Bad effects. Undermined democracy, created resentment and anger, and acted as a seed of World War II. The Marshal Foch quote about an armistice for 20 years is absolutely spot on. At the terms of the treaty, land, army, money and blame. Terms, fairness, leaders, effects. Thank you very much.